to my face that our client is the IDF.
Your client is the IDF.
Our client is the IDF. And this came out in a discussion once where I was in the control room. I was on I was on control room duty that day. We had shifted responsibilities on a rotation base. So I was in there that day with the radio observing site number 2 distribution. A Palestinian man had picked up some children to let them step on his shoulders to get onto a berm because they were being crushed in the crowd. Site 2 is very small, smallest of all 4 sites. And these children are being crushed. He picked them up there and put them up on the berm. And the Israeli Defense Forces liaison officer in the main control center with us comes up to the screen that I'm watching and he says, "Tell your men to get them down." I was like, "We got this under control." I was like, "I know, they know what they're doing. No, children, let's calm down. Get them down now or I will." Well, there's no IDF on the site. So I didn't take it as much more than just being, bombastic and okay, hey, we got this. He leaves and goes to his desk in the operations center and he gets on the radio and he speaks something on the radio. It was in Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew. One of the contractors that was there was American that did speak Hebrew, and he notifies me. He said, "Hey, he just told the snipers at the IDF position, because the site number 2 is co-located with an Israeli base. He said, he just told the snipers to take these kids out." I was like, "On the radio?" He's like, "Yeah." This lieutenant colonel then comes back up and he says, "Get them down." And I look at him and I say, "Did you just call on the radio and tell your men to shoot them?" And he said, "I'm going to take care of this if you don't." I said, "You are not going to shoot. You are not going to shoot children. You're also not going to shoot because if your men miss, you're going to hit others. You're not going to shoot." Thank God we didn't come to the conclusion of figuring out whether he would or not, because the children jumped down and ran off of the site. They didn't want to be there. They were unarmed. They didn't have shoes. One wasn't even wearing a shirt. They were starving. The chief operations officer for Safe Reach Solutions, our higher headquarters, so to speak, in the contract, beckoned me outside with him, and he looked at me in the face and he said, "Never say no to the client." And I asked him, I was like, "I didn't know the client was in here. Who's here? Did Johnny Moore come to visit?" And he said, "No, the IDF." I was like, "The IDF are our client?" He said, "Yes, we work for them." A light bulb went off in my head, because up until that point, every day at 11 o'clock, we'd have an operations meeting where the IDF, not COGAT, not the UN, not GHF, the IDF would give us very clear and explicit instructions. This is the site you will deliver to. This is how much aid you will deliver. This is how you will deliver it. This is the time you will deliver it. This is how many trucks will go in. They gave us explicit, and we took our marching orders from them. Up until that point, I just thought maybe that was just a process. But then I realized that, according to Safe Reach Solutions, the prime contract, we work for the IDF. Inherently, a combatant, a belligerent in a war. Is Israel at war with Hamas? Absolutely. Are they combatants? Absolutely. Humanitarian aid should not be distributed through a humanitarian assistance mechanism that is controlled by a combatant in a war. It is inherently inhumane. It is inherently un-American. And if Americans knew that, I don't think they'd put up with it.